to the cloud. Okay, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you and hear you.
And the syllabus, can you see that?
Yes.
All right, we're in business. So, um, welcome back. I know a bunch of you guys from last semester, and I got 12 participants online, and I got 3 people here, so I think we're ready to go. And first things first, I wanted to go over the syllabus with you. And I'm not exactly sure what happened to it. I put it on the home page, and I don't know if you guys seen it. I went on student view, it wouldn't pull it up for me, but I put it on the modules too. So it's kind of in a lot of different places now. But what I wanted to kind of talk to you about is, first of all, lecture hybrid. It's the same thing that those of us who were here last semester are doing again. You guys can come in and be here, and as long as your name today starts with L through Z, we're good. And on Mondays, A through K. If you want to go totally virtual, that is that you don't want to come into class, let me know. There's a form they want me to fill out to allow you to do that. And you can do that. There's no penalty. I won't hold it against you. Actually, I want you all to feel like you're safe in this time of COVID. And if you're uncomfortable coming in here, if it just seems a bit too much, that's fine. And we don't want anyone to get sick. We did pretty well last semester. Maybe by the end of this semester, we'll have a vaccine. Oh, I hope so. I'm so tired of this mask. Anyway, so it's hybrid. You can come in half the time if you like. And one thing I have to do is make a seating chart. So I have 3 people here today, and they picked out their seats, and that'll be my first seating chart. When you come in, you always have to sit at the same desk. It has everything to do with contact tracing and making sure that this virus doesn't spread between us or among us. And so that's this. And course objectives. Purpose of this course is to offer an introduction to the visual arts of the Western world from the early Renaissance period through contemporary art in the United States. Lectures will focus on a selective re-examination of representative works of art and will include discussions of appreciation and style, as well as larger social, religious, and visual ideas connected with the selected works. This course will introduce basic elements of design, composition, artistic media, and will place subject matter within its historical context. And so that's pretty much it. And it says contemporary art in the United States. Bottom line is that this book, those of you who had this last semester, know that it kind of follows a track of what you might call Eurocentric, Middle Eastern centric art, and then has a couple of chapters at the end that unfortunately we didn't get to. that cover South Asia, China, Japan, Africa, and the Americas. And so that's how this is set up too. We go through this linear Eurocentric study, and then there are some other things at the end. And I'm hoping that we get to those final chapters. They're really pretty good, and they're pretty short. And I think I can blame why we didn't get to it last time, but part of it was technical issues. I had to cancel a couple of classes along the way when the stuff just didn't work. And so I think we got the bugs out of it. I'm looking forward to this class and getting done on time. So this is the text. You guys got that. I think you got it virtually, the e-textbook. That's what I got. And the optional test, Strunk and White, Elements of Style. It's a very small book, but it's basically about writing and how you construct sentences, how you construct paragraphs, and so on. It is, as it says here, an invaluable source for college level writing. And it's available in most libraries. And you want to know how old this is? Well, I don't really know, but it's what I used when I was in college. So there you go. If the pages start falling apart because they're dry rot, buy a newer copy. And so regular attendance, class participation, and weekly readings. And so your attendance can be here online. I don't know if you can see this, but I got 12 participants and I got 3 here and I got 15 enrolled. So everyone's here. And so we're good there. We're going to do quizzes, group presentations, and I put this back in the mix at a suggestion I had gotten about making sure that you guys get some exposure to writing at college level. And just like we did last time with the group presentations, I thought that worked out beautifully. You guys gave me some very good feedback about how to go about doing it. And I like the idea because it's something that you can do virtually. You can send those files back and forth and edit them and revise them. And so we had a bunch of good ones last time. I was really quite pleased with that. And the written assignment, I think we're going to try to tie that in to the research as well. And I'll explain that as we get through this. Quizzes, they're brief exam that test the student's knowledge of material discussed in class. I got a story. How many of you guys, well, you guys are too young. No, you're the right age. I'm too old. But bottom line, a long time ago, they had this big discussion. I mean, it was like traumatic. It was like close to a revolution, a shooting war about calculators back in the day, because there were the old guard who didn't really want students to ever have calculators, because by golly, they got to learn how to do the math. And so that was a debate for quite a long time, probably well over a decade. And finally, they realized that A, calculators are pretty easy to get. And B, they really increase your productivity. You can do things on a calculator that if you were doing pencil and paper would take forever. Likewise, the internet, you can do more on your phone and get to information more quickly than we ever could at the library, going through the card catalog, trying to find sources. And so there are some people in this day and age that really, I don't know if you've had them. They don't want you to use any resources, any devices, not your phone, not your iPad, not your desktop. Well, right now, that argument has been settled because a lot of you guys, 12 of you today, are at home. And you got your phone, you got your laptop, you got everything you need. So what I'm saying is this: I'm going to design the quizzes so that you actually have to use what's available online. So that takes out the whole idea of cheating and all this other stuff. The other part of it is, and this is what I like about the analogy with the calculators, students still learn the math. And so when you get your calculator out and you say, what is the square root of 25? And it comes up 7. You know the math and you know that's wrong. That's the square root of 49, not 25. And so likewise, in this, you get a kind of a basic understanding of what's going on in the arts. And after some point, after you learn a little bit, you'll be able to pick out what is factual or what is just plain nonsense. Actually, I got some nonsense I'm going to show you today. I saved it for last. And so anyway, that's what the quizzes will be about. There'll be stuff that I'll be sending you for an online search. And like the math students, this should increase your knowledge exponentially because you know how to use these tools. And so, exams and quizzes, and take on the dates listed. Basically what I've been doing, and it has worked out, is open up those quizzes for a couple of days or so. That covers the people who could not be in class. That covers students who would require extra time to finish the project. It covers a lot of things. And I don't think that the timing part is quite as important. I think getting a good answer is much more important than trying to see how fast you can spit it out. And so anyway, unknown images, short answers, blah, 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 blah. A written assignment, we'll do a prompt, we'll do in-class instructions, and I'll walk you through that just like we walked through the group presentations last semester. We'll kind of open it up, we'll do some preliminary research, we'll find out how to narrate over a PowerPoint and so on. And so here is the attendance policy, which I already told you about. And if you want to have virtual only, just let me know, because I have to fill out some paperwork to say that I know that you're going to do this totally online. And I like having some people here. I get like kind of freaked out. I'm sitting in his dark room by myself, talking into this weird little camera. I like having people. Anyway, bottom line, if you have any issues, if you have certain issues about a medical issue or some other kind of issue, God forbid, things like a death in a family or something, and that does happen, I'm sorry to say, let me know. And if you need to have some extra time or something, we'll do a makeup quiz, not a problem. Academic integrity, that just means you can look up things, you can paraphrase things, and you can even copy things as long as you put those things you copy in quotes and give it a proper citation. And so anyway, that's kind of that's kind of the big issue. Classroom etiquette. Since I've been here, since my end of my second year here at Maryville, everybody I've met has been nice. In fact, I think of it as this, Maryville nice, because everybody has been respectful to each other, to me. This probably really shouldn't even have it in here, but here are the important dates. Here's the quizzes, the written assignment. We're going to try to get that done kind of quick by March 1st. And student presentations towards the end. And here is the reading assignments. This is Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday. And so this is the schedule. The rest of this is pretty much the legalese of that. I didn't even write any of this. This is kind of what comes along from the administration. And this is a student goals and so on. And it's how many hours we got to have and so on. So that's that. And let me get back to share screen and slideshow from beginning. Okay, you guys at home, can you see that? Canvas introduction. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. And Damien, yeah, gotcha. Thanks. Okay. I always ask, I learn to ask. I did a few times last semester where I didn't ask and I just kept going on like it was, you were looking at it. And it's one of the, what I think is a flaw in Zoom, especially when you got multiple documents to open, it takes a little bit of finesse. So, Canvas. This is probably old hat for some of you, many of you, but we're going to go through it. World Arts and Ideas. This is us. Section 5, Spring 21. And so, this is what you'll need to be on, and I'm sure that you've been this far already. Let's see, now I gotta get to the next slide. Okay, the home page, I put the syllabus on it and stuff. And it says faculty can find a seating chart. It's basically a lot of the same things that I told you about. And that is, that's what I mean about Canvas. And uh-oh. Okay. And I'm getting all messed up because you know why? I'm old. Okay. Previous. Okay. This is what I wanted to show you. Here. On that page, the home page that has the syllabus, I have listed all of the Zoom meetings. I set them up already. I was going to do that last semester, but I taught 2 sections and Zoom got confused between my 12:30 class and my 6 o'clock class, and it confused me and it confused the students. So anyway, this is it. This is the Zoom log on, and I got all of the dates. And so I have here Media Gallery. And what this is that the Zoom lessons, lectures, I'll record. I'm recording right now. And when the class is over, I'll stop recording. I'll take it to YouTube. They'll convert it. I'll be able to put it back on Canvas in the Media Gallery. Now, this is last semester's gallery because I didn't have any video to put in it today. Modules, that's where we'll have the material for the day. And so this is today, the Canvas introduction, the spring syllabus. This is where we're at. This is what we had. And so if you're not in class, you'll know where to find the next day's materials. And so, yeah, that's it. That's really what you need to do. That's how to navigate it. And And let me see, I gotta make sure I don't log us out. New share. Is the screen? No, maybe this screen will get me. And give me a minute here. Modules. And let me see the screen share here. Okay. Can you guys see that at home? HAD.
Yes.
Okay, and you can hear me because you answered. So I'm good with that. Well, this is the PowerPoint I wanted to talk to you about. Reading assignments. Okay, I'll have the reading assignments. I have those on the schedule, and I'll be putting together the modules prior to the class meeting. And I want you to read that chapter before we come in, because bottom line, I think we'll have a better discussion if you're familiar with whatever it is we're talking about that day. And so this is the thing. What is art history from Encyclopedia? Oh, I messed this up. Britannica. You would know it was Britannica because they spell it with the AE on there. Anyway, art history. Also called art historiography, a historical study of the visual arts. Being concerned with identifying, classifying, describing, evaluating, interpreting, and understanding the art products and historic developments of the fields of painting, sculpture, architecture, the decorative arts, drawing, printmaking, photography, interior design, etc. Well, that's simple. So I kind of broke it down. Identifying, that's kind of an easy one. That is an easy one because you would say attribution. Who is the artist? Who made this thing? And the date it was made, the place of origin. So that's kind of an important thing to keep an eye on, because artists make things and then they end up sometimes on the other side of the world. And so where it was made is probably the most important in terms of understanding how this particular work came about. And the last, media. And sometimes that's kind of evident. If it's a statue, it's probably marble or bronze. If it's a painting, it's probably fresco or oil painting, maybe tempera. But all of this stuff is right there. It's right here on the page, and I picked this one. Leonardo da Vinci, Mona Lisa. And it has been described by many people in many places as the most famous artwork of all time. And so this is the guy, Leonardo da Vinci. That's almost always the first entry. Then the title, then the date, then the media. And what it doesn't have here is the place of origin. What it has here is where it's at. And that's a whole other thing. Like I said, this guy, Leonardo, worked for the French in southern France, and he worked for the Italians, and he was an Italian, so there. Sometimes we punt on that last one. We just show you where it's at now and where you can find it. Classifying. This is where it starts to go down the rabbit hole. Now, the book has kind of a simple classification directive. It's called the Canon of Art History. Anybody know what a canon is? Where you like shoot bullets, big bombs and stuff. That is a canon, but this is a different kind of canon. It's a kind of an agreement among experts or scholars as to what are the important works of art, the ones that represent a particular place and time, more than all the other stuff. And so we got here Mona Lisa from 1504, but we don't have somebody's woven rug. We don't have a lot of other stuff that wasn't quite considered to be up to this standard. And that is how the book is put together. But there are other art histories. I want to make you familiar with that. Just mention this before we get too far down the road, because there are other art histories and they have arisen in the last 30, 40 years. It's the postmodern way of doing things that we have different kinds of art histories pulled out of art history. And so you could have an art history of great women artists. In fact, I took a course in graduate school at the University of Wisconsin that was about women in art history, and it was a long time ago. And basically the idea was to find all of these women who were neglected by those so-called experts, the people that put together these kinds of books. And in fact, there's a rival book, not what we have, Gardner's Art Through the Ages. This one was called Jansen's Art History, and it's a kind of a big encyclopedic art history book. And in that book, there were only like 6 women artists represented. And I see some of you guys going, whoa. Well, see, it was that work that uncovered all of these neglected artists, and it had everything to do with a male bias. They were all men. It was good old boys club. They picked the men, didn't think so much of including women. Another thing they uncovered was because that was the situation, a lot of women changed their names and identified as men. And so they uncovered a lot of that. And I was so fortunate because a lot of that research was being done when I was in graduate school, and I got to talk to a lot of the people and took classes from a lot of people doing that work. And so there are different kinds of art histories. And in this, you could take it another way. The portrayal of women in Western art. Or you could do an art history of scientific discovery in art. And Da Vinci was a scientist probably more than he was an artist. And he tried, and he was very successful at this. One of the problems with portraying people, painting them, is to make them look alive. Because it's skin, for instance, does not reflect light like hard objects. Skin reflects different colors of light. And it's soft, but it's solid. And how do you do that? And one of the things that they talk about frequently in the Mona Lisa is how did he get this look? It's very subtle. It's like she's thinking of something and she's kind of got the little smile, but she's not like really got the big laugh out loud. And so people have marveled over this for 500 years about how he was able to do that. And this is kind of like a hairnet kind of thing that's holding her hair in place. All of the subtleties, all of how he invented this landscape behind Mona Lisa. And that's a scientific thing, because if you know scientifically, this is all stuff we take for granted today, by the way, but if you know the laws of linear perspective and atmospheric perspective, you can invent a landscape like this. And this landscape is really pretty fantastic. And we believe it doesn't really exist anywhere on Earth. It's just mountains and roads and impending storm on the horizon and some more mountains and some water. But if you have the scientific mathematical knowledge on how to do that, you can invent a landscape that's actually believable. So anyway, I'm going on about Da Vinci, but there are different kinds of art histories that this would show up in. And that's just scratching the surface. You could be seeing something like this in a political history and so on. Formal concerns and styles, we'll track that. That's going to be a through line in this class, style. Because what we'll find, what I'll show you, is that artists do things a certain way for a while and then they change. And sometimes we actually know why that happened. They changed because, well, for instance, the change from medieval art to Renaissance art. Medieval artists didn't really care so much about all of the subtleties, all of the naturalism that we see here. They were more concerned, oftentimes, with iconography, with symbolism, And one of the things that we studied last semester, towards the end of the semester, were those Byzantine Christ pictures, those paintings where he's holding the Bible, giving the blessing, had the halo with the cross on it, all of those things. That was symbolic, and that was more important than doing something that was quite this natural. And so things change, and I kept this part of the definition because it really does extend to more than painting and sculpture, architecture, printmaking, drawing, photography, etc. Everything kind of spins in this orbit of whatever time period and what the concerns are of that culture. And describing, well, I've been doing some of that here. Learn the language of the visual arts, and sometimes it's not just academic artistic jargon, but sometimes it's a use of adjectives that, like I was talking about, the subtleties of the lights and the darks here. You can see that the modeling here on her hand is quite exquisite, and her hand is very soft, but it's solid at the same time. So like talking about the subtleties of lights and darks, the illusion of deep space, coloration, shape, line, composition. And we'll talk about that along the way, because we'll see that for the most part, what Da Vinci was doing was kind of straightforward. This is a portrait. If you went to Olin Mills or Vincent Price Studios or one of those places, they would probably ask you to sit something like this. This is a standard portrait pose that's over 500 years old. And so line, composition, that's how they get there. They arrange all of this stuff. When they arrange it in a different way, when they have different priorities, change how we describe it. Here is the most puzzling question of all. How does one evaluate art? Well, you can go to the history of art, look at the textbook. If it's in there, it's good. If it's not in there, it's bad. But that's not really too, I don't know if that'd be accurate. And there certainly are reasons why these particular works appear. But how does one evaluate art? And so, Olivia, I'm going to ask you, how do you evaluate art?
Usually like the detail and the creativity, I guess.
Detail, creativity. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe also like what it represents and going into like the further meaning of it.
Yeah, subject matter can do that. Yeah. It's like a lot of art, you know. It's like, do you like love songs or do you like heavy metal? You know, it's a subject matter, you know. I want to go kill everybody, or I want a piece of love. And so, Isabel, gotcha. How do you evaluate art?
I guess just like observing it and like
I guess looking at the fine details and stuff kind of.
So, yeah, and so how about this? How about how a lot of people evaluate, and three good answers here, how it makes me feel. You know, if it moves me, then I think it's good, it's effective. If it doesn't, blah. And so anyway, that's always been puzzling to me about evaluating art. And I think that the way you get there is to know what your criteria are. That's how you get there, I think. And you were talking about detail and things. You know, a lot of what most people use as the standards for evaluating art come right out of this time, right out of the Renaissance. And I can show you, I will be showing you a lot of things that do not fit Renaissance models or criteria, but are still considered great art. And so that's really going to be what this semester is going to be about. And those things change. They change from generation to generation. They change from one country to the next. And so that's it. The awareness of cultural context. Sometimes the awareness of the legacy, I think, is kind of a good one. And as I just mentioned, most of our criteria for evaluating art comes from the Renaissance. So that has a huge legacy where we talk about things like detail and naturalism and so on. And as I was saying, personal response. And so sometimes we can sit there and talk about all of these reasons why a work of art is so great, but if it does not move you, or you find it boring, or you find it ridiculous, that's a personal interpretation. That's a personal response. Hopefully, as we look at this stuff and talk about some of the reasons why it's considered art, at least I'll give you an opportunity to at least know what it's about, even if you don't particularly like it. And recontextualization, I just put that in there because this Mona Lisa not only is the prime example of Renaissance art, it's one of the prime examples of Western art. And so, yeah, people use it. It's so iconic and it's so well known that you can do a lot of playing around with it. This piece here on the left is an artist named Botero. And all of his subject matter, when he does people, places, animals, he blows them up like they're balloons, you know, and they just, anyway. And this, I don't know who this is, but cut her head, put her head through this hole and hold this up. Just saying, I mean, it's so well known. It gets used for all kind of stuff. Barack Obama as Mona Lisa. Chewbacca as Mona Lisa. And sometimes, and I got this, sometimes in this century, and just the 20th and 21st century, a lot of artists make reference about art and art history. And this is a guy named Marcel Duchamp, and this is his name right there. And This is one of the works he's famous for, getting a postcard of the Mona Lisa and drawing a mustache and a beard on it. And here is him with one of these framed. But, you know, a lot of art today is about art itself. And that's kind of something that that's just the way things are today. It's and so that is what I got. And so any questions? How about this question? That's supposed to be ADAH, Art and Design, Art History, not Art History, Art and Design. Just say it. I make a few. Well, you guys are polite. No yelling and screaming in class. All right. Well, that's what I wanted to tell you about today, your expectations, what this will be about, and I'll guess we'll call it a night. So we'll see you guys on Monday.
Do we have any assignments or reading for?
Yes. Oh, that's a good question.
I can go to.
Yeah, it's just basically chapter 20.
Whenever I
Late
click-
medieval and early Renaissance, chapter 20.
Okay. Whenever I click syllabus, I don't really see all of the calendar stuff about the due dates and all that kind of stuff. I might be looking in the wrong place, but
Well, let's see what we can do here. And that's kind of why I put some of this on the modules.
okay,
So,
gotcha.
yeah, because that was happening to me too. Yeah, that's what we're sharing.
Okay,
So
I see
it's
now.
right here. Can you see that?
Yeah, I have it. I found it. I
Okay.
think. Okay, let me.
And
see.
chapter 20 is here, and this is going to be the PowerPoint we use to talk about it.
Okay, see if I did. Sweet. So it says January.
I don't
So
see
it says that January 25th is chapter
Monday.
20. So whenever you have like the readings, you want us to have it read by that date. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and I just published it, so we're good.